It is 5:26 a.m. Oh, we are on a bridge. Oh, I don't like this. We're watching the sunrise, so that's pretty. I hate bridges. But that's really pretty.
And that's a broken window.
Oh, yeah, it is. I wasn't looking in that window, I was looking out the front. We are on our way to a craft show right now. We have to get there super early to set up. This is one of my favorite shows of the year, so I am very, very excited. I love this show. We're gonna be on the beach. It's gonna be a great day. Ben is yawning. You're real cute, babe.
Thanks.
We're gonna be on the beach. It's gonna be a great day. I had 4 hours of sleep. My dog sitter, she had to cancel last minute. She is in the hospital, so I hope you're okay. So one of my good friends last minute was able to come and help, but she came once she got out of work, and she's in the medical field, so she didn't get to my house until 12:30. So I stayed up and worked, which normally breaks my golden rule, because my normal thing that I say is that anything you make the night of, if you stay up late night crafting the night before a craft fair, it's like you're never gonna sell that stuff. It's the curse of the night before, that any of that stuff that you make the night before, that you stay up late night gluing eyes on or doing anything, is not going to sell. Superstition, that's the word I was looking for. Thank you. The curse of the night before. But because I had to stay up anyway, because I was waiting for my friend to get to my house and I had to let her in, it doesn't count. So I stayed up last night gluing eyes on turtles and things and doing stuffs. So that was I'm exhausted. I got 4 hours of sleep. It's gonna be a fun day! Alright, you so excited, Ben?
Yeah.
You so excited? So excited.
At least you've had caffeine so far this morning.
I had a sip of caffeine. Deer. I missed it.
2 of them.
My contacts are also not adjusting well right now. So I might need to stop at Walmart and get eye drops, because they are not loving this morning. Whoa. Now that's some fog. Whoa. And there's like none on that side. When you get all the way out there, there is, but whoa. Wawa. Alright, we went to Wawa. They did not have his pepperoni sandwich. They only had the sausage, but they had my bacon, egg, and cheese. Sorry, babe. Deep sigh. We are 5 minutes away. It is still crazy foggy outside. I don't like it. Like, look at this. It's crazy foggy. Crazy fog. Crazy fog. I'm very, very excited about this event. I don't remember what time it goes to. I think it goes to either 5 or 6. I didn't get an email about setup times or anything like that. I actually just called the coordinator yesterday to be like, hey, is it the same as last year? I don't remember. I didn't get an email, but I know I'm in. I'm just paying her when I get there, because I love her and she's wonderful and it's great.
It's us.
Say that again.
And she loves us.
Yeah. So we're gonna just do it when we get there, and we're gonna figure it out when we get there. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be great. Because I have no idea. I don't remember. It's gonna be fine. I mean, I could check the email from last year, but it's not a big deal. They don't really care what time you close up, as long as you stay open. And the people will still be there, so we're gonna stay until it starts getting weird, because it'll start getting weird.
Yeah, last year, after basically every event, she would come around and be like, okay, guys, you can pack up whenever you want, stay open as late as you want.
Yep.
Blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
And I think last year we started to live by the rule that if we went 20 minutes without a sale, then we would start to pack up.
That's what it was. And when the tram started getting real busy, because that tram started getting real busy. The tram car.
I know what you're talking about. I don't remember it getting real busy.
It would run every like 5 minutes.
Okay. watch the tram car, please.
We aren't, oh man, we're hitting a lot of bumps. Okay. We aren't gonna have much in the way of sales until about noon because people don't really start shopping and walking the boardwalk until bikes are off the boardwalk at noon. So noon, 1 o'clock. So it's gonna be an easy morning. We're gonna just take it as it comes. It's gonna be a great day. I'd love this fog to kind of dissipate a little bit. It should do its thing. Not only does the coordinator love us, we love her as well. She's wonderful. We love her. We love her. We love her. But I called her last night just to make sure everything was the same as last year from the email, just for setup times, because I didn't get an email with setup times. She's like, you are coming tomorrow, right? I'm like, yeah, no, I am coming. I just want to make sure the time was right. We're here. Wow, Ben, you're doing such a good job. So I love this event where our tent goes is actually Sharpied out on the boardwalk, which is really cool. On all 4 corners, it has Sharpie lines. And today we are spot 33. Came around and zip tied us to the boardwalk. Say hi. We are all set up right now. We can walk all the way around. We have a bit of room in between, so we've got a walkway here. Try not to get hit by a bike. Make sure I don't get hit by a bicycle. But we're looking pretty good. A kite festival happening right now, so kites are about to all go up in the air. The fog finally died out, so that was really good. Excuse me, sir, do you make these?
Not a chance.
Oh, I was not recording your face. There's a giant stingray, and I think there's a giant blowfish that's trying to make it up in the sky. There's just not enough wind out there today. That's the highest I've seen that guy go. There's a bunch of kites out there. There's just not enough wind to get them all up in the sky. Last year, the sky was covered in heads. Oh my God, is it gonna go? Is it gonna go? Is it going? It's trying real hard. It's trying so hard, and it's back on the ground. This thing's really cool. They just got this swordfish up. The pufferfish still isn't up. It's still in the exact same spot. They're so close to getting this crab up. There he goes. There he goes. So close. So close. It counts. It counts. This, when pigs fly, he's been up a little bit. Sometimes a little bit. The sky, we've got a bunch of them. Up there's Marvin the Martian. That's fun. It looks like they're trying to get this rainbow crab up. The sky last year was full of kites, but I just think it's just not windy enough this year. I have a bass in the sky. This fish still hasn't gone up, but we have a lot of kites up in the sky now. The stingray is still up, and over here, oh, there's a bunch in the sky. Over here we have like an octopus or a squid. That guy's pretty cool. And then there's a donkey and a chicken, and the pigs up, the pig legs. Is that supposed to be a seahorse? And the crab is still struggling. Struggle bus crab. That's a seahorse, alright. That's what that is. Babies. Oh my God, look, there's little babies underneath it. Stop it. Eyeball and airplanes over there. Ben got his sandwich today from Wawa.
How's that?
We are going into day 2. My eyes are so itchy. I want to claw my eyes out of my face. Yesterday was a really weird day. Last year, Memorial Day, people were shoulder to shoulder on the boardwalk. And yesterday there was like not a lot of people on the boardwalk, which is fine. Maybe yesterday was not People's Beach Day, which is totally fine. It was kind of just like a normal day on the beach, which we do this event. We go to this event multiple times throughout the summer. It's kind of just like a normal beach day. We had a great sales day. I can't complain. The numbers were down from last year, but we had a great day. It was just like a good day on the beach. I was asked for gorillas. I was asked to make bowling pins. What else was I was asked for something else that was weird too.
I mean, people always ask for seals.
People have been asking for seals a lot. We were gonna get an Airbnb or a hotel, and then that ended up falling through. The dog sitter fell through. My friend watched the dog, the Ruthie girl, the babe. So we did end up just driving home last night. We got dinner and we drove home. So we're driving back right now. We're gonna go. We tore everything down last night that is irreplaceable. We left the replaceable stuff. So I left the tables, the bookcases, the grid wall shelves, the tent. I mean, the tent that's a tractor. Okay, that was a tractor on the road. I thought that was a tractor on the road. You know where that does not happen? New York City. That does not happen there.
Because New York City is not farmland anymore.
So I will try to get a video of that when we leave. We had a lot of last minute sales yesterday as we were packing up. Like, we did about $300 in sales as we were packing up. Yeah. We had a lot. Like, our peak hours yesterday were about the same as last year to year, but our our peak sales the hours were about the same year to year from last year, but our sales were higher last year for credit. So interesting. But it was still, we had a really good day. We had a really good day yesterday. But if I don't claw my eyes out of my face today, it will be a good day because my eyes are so itchy. I need to find eye drops. So we had tent walls, but this is how we stored everything overnight. All the tent walls were also down and locked. So locked and loaded, baby. So this is what we left. We left the shelves for the grid wall. Oh, the tent is wet. Grid wall, tables.
You see the little puddles from our old...
Oh yeah, look at that. The only bad part of this show is I have to walk like a mile to get to the bathrooms. But at least I get my steps in. You guys, today we have kites in the sky. It doesn't even feel much more windy than yesterday, but there are so many more kites out here today. They got some sort of animal out there. There's a scuba diver, the giant jellyfish, another scuba diver. That guy was up yesterday. I don't know what those things are. So cool. Look, that's a dragon. Oh my dragon. All right, so the weather's getting really weird here. Do you see how hazy it is out there? It's like really hazy. I don't know if you can tell. It's like really hazy out there. So at the last few hours of that show, it was a little dewy. All of that mist came back and my stuff was a little wet. So we set everything up with fans in the garage and that way it could all dry out because it was all just on the surface. None of it got thoroughly wet and ruined. Oh, big yawn.
Big yawn, mama girl.
All right, so this past weekend was awesome.
Yes.
We had a good weekend.
We had a good weekend.
We had a
Good time, good weekend.
Good weekend. We have done this market before. This is one of my favorite events. We do it every year. It was not as good or as busy as last year, but it was still a good event.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, there was a lot less people this year, but I think that was attributed mostly to the forecast for the weather said that it was going to be crappy weather. And then the actual weather was mostly pretty good.
It was probably the best weather we've had down at the beach ever. Normally the beach is so windy. So windy. It's insane. But this was like the least amount of wind, which was kind of unfortunate because of the Kite Festival. They didn't have enough wind on the first day for the poor kites. But other than that, it was great. We did that missed the first day. It did make it so we missed about the first hour and a half, 2 hours of sales.
Yeah, the mist made us miss.
Oh, I'm sorry. I breathed on you. You didn't like that. I'm sorry. because I didn't want to set up with the mist because everything was wet. The tablecloths were wet. The fixtures were wet. Everything was wet. So it was a good thing we had paper towels. So we had to wipe everything down. So I set all the fixtures and everything up first, let it sit for a little bit, and I tried to wait as long as I possibly could before I had to set everything up. And it was wet.
Yeah.
It
Well,
was wet.
this event, like a lot of others, they'll give vendors a time that you have to be set up by. So we waited to the very last minute of how long it would take us to put all of our plushies out, and then as soon as that time hit, we put all the we cleaned and dried everything off, and then put the plushies out.
So we're allowed to get there starting at 6 o'clock in the morning. So we get there at like 6 o'clock in the morning, and our stuff, the show doesn't start until either 10 or 11.
I think it was 10.
Is it 10? I don't know. I don't remember. It either starts at 10 or 11. So we have ample time to set up. We have so much time, which is great. But even if you're set up early, normally we'll be set up by 9 the latest, and we do start getting sales at 9.
Oh, yeah.
Because people are walking the boardwalk for their morning runs, morning jogs. So we will get earlier sales. The earlier you're set up, the more sales you're going to have, or you have an extra hour. And it's so peaceful on the beach. So we'll be set up early, but I just couldn't do it. I couldn't risk it. And then we did have that issue at the end where the mist was back at the very back end, and the stuff did get a little damp. So we did set everything up in the garage. We did set up the fans going, and it was all surface level. Nothing was wet on the inside, so nothing got ruined. But that is a hazard when you're at the beach. There's water and mist. So that's a thing.
Make sure you stay to the end of the video to hear about the things that were stolen, the things that were broken, and it wasn't drama for us, but I'm sure it was drama for the people that it happened to.
Mostly with this event, it's such a good event. We really just have a lot of good stories, like feel-good stories of things that happen, and I guess not so feel-good stories. This first one's a not so feel-good story of things that happen at this event. I love this show.
Yeah, this show is always a good time. Even when the weather is not great, we still have a great time there. So this first story has to do with the national anthem.
Every day at 11 o'clock, they play the national anthem.
At this particular beach. And they pipe it over the PA system. Everyone can hear it. And before it starts, it says, "Please stop and stand for our national anthem." And when I say you could hear a pin drop, like the only things that you hear are the wind, the waves, the seagulls, and the national anthem. And every single day when they do this, everyone stops on the boardwalk. Everyone, is respectful, well, at least most of the time. This particular time...
No, it happens every time. There's always at least one person.
Oh, yeah, you're right. There is always at least one person that they see everyone else stop, and they see everyone else stand, and they just decide that they're going to continue, and it's almost always a bicycle rider. Almost always a bicycle rider.
Or people, people walking sometimes, they want to get their lemonade, or they'll be mad that the lemonade people stop making lemonade.
Oh, yeah, that's true, too.
It blows my mind. Or they'll be, asking people to get out of their way because they're stopped. It's read the room. It takes 30 seconds to sing the song. It's not a long song.
Right.
But everybody else is stopped with
hand over their heart, or even just being respectful and not being loud and obnoxious. This time in particular, we saw it happen both days. One of the days, it was someone on a bicycle, and they almost ran into people 3 times. They just kept trying to zigzag in between, almost like when you see a motorcyclist on the highway, zigging and zagging between cars, except it was a person on the boardwalk with their bicycle doing that between people.
And people, when they've done this on the boardwalk at this particular event, I had a bicyclist hit my tent one year and break my tent. It was nuts.
Yeah. So it's just one of those things that we see, which it's not a feel-good thing. So we had another thing happen this weekend, which happens fairly regularly. Someone tried to bargain with the prices. Happens
all the time.
All the time. It doesn't really bug us. We had it happen, I think, 3 times this weekend.
And I just say, everything's handmade. It goes off the time it takes me to make it. I'm sorry, I can't adjust the price.
And most people, they're like, okay, fine. And they're not always happy with it, because sometimes they think that your prices are not correct or too high or whatever.
I heard a lot this weekend, though, that my prices should be higher than what they were.
Right. So this one guy came up, and he was with this woman who I believe was his girlfriend.
They looked like they were a couple.
Yeah, they looked like they were a couple. She didn't have a ring on her finger, though, so I don't know exactly what their
Doesn't matter.
relationship was. But she wanted to get an ice cream cone. Ice cream cones that we have are $15.
Which
Yeah.
is the cheapest item that I have. Most of my things start at like $20 and up. I don't have a lot of $15 items. I'm really trying to just like move away from the $15 items. It's one of the last few things that I have that is $15.
Right. So he's like, well, if I get 2, can I get a discount? And I'm like, no, sorry, sir. That's
It's 30 for 2.
It's 30 for 2 of them if you get 2. And then he's like, it's 15 each? And I'm like, yes. And he's like, will you take 25? And I'm like, no, they're 15 each. And he's like, okay, they're all right. And then he's like, will you take 27? I'm like, no, like it's a firm price. And then he goes, will you take 25? And I was like, for 1? Yeah. And he's like, no, for 2. But I had already said yeah. And he's like, oh, he said yeah to 25. So find something else for 15. And I was like, that's not what I said. But okay.
I don't know how many times I have to say no before no means no.
When I say no, I'm not bargaining, and no, the prices are not negotiable, and I keep saying no over and over, that doesn't mean when you stumble me up with my words that all of a sudden the price is different.
So then they're hunting for other things that are $15.
And he's like, well, what else is $15? I'm like, that's basically it.
I think I had 1 or 2 other things that were $15, and
I pointed one of them out. I was like,
about
that's $15, but everything else starts at 20. And she only wanted the ice cream cone, and I could tell by the look in her face that she was not happy with what he was doing.
She was not happy with him at all.
And so eventually she ends up telling him,
I only want this.
I've only
wanted this.
And he's like, fine. And then she ends up paying for it. He ends up not even buying it for her after he's being such a pain and trying to negotiate the price. She ended up paying for it herself. So it was just one of those weird things.
We were like, what? What just happened?
Like, why are you arguing with us? I told you no multiple times, and then you try to stumble me with my words, and then when you finally get me, like, you're not even the one paying for it? So that's the end of our, like, not good, not so great stories. The rest are all fun, heartfelt, like, things to us, and then the real bad drama stuff at the end. We had a very interesting guy come up to us, and he picked up the plushies, and if you've ever gotten anything that Sarah makes, you know that it is dense. She takes a lot of pride in how much stuffing she puts in them to make sure that they hold their shape for you for as long as possible, and so that when you love on your stuffed animal, you don't feel the fabric like pressing together after like a month. So she does an amazing job.
When you buy a stuffed animal at the grocery store, when you can rub the fabric together in like a month, it's because every time you love on it, the stuffing is going to compact. Every time you squeeze it, it's going to compact more and more and more. I want my stuffies to hold their shape. So some might say it's overstuffing. I don't believe in overstuffing. I think that's an excuse.
Right. But so we had this gentleman come up, and he was marveling at how dense and how well stuffed they were. And then he's like, I know this is completely unrelated to what you actually do, but how do you get them like this? Is it foam? And we just explained to him exactly what we just explained to you. And he's like, okay, another weird question. I've got this chair that I'm trying to stuff, and every time I try to do it, it feels like just like there's a rock in it. Like, do you have any advice for this? And Sarah legitimately talked with this guy for like 10 minutes on how to utilize the stuffing and make it so that it doesn't like bunch up in one spot, and just walked him through how to stuff a chair as if it was a plushie. And this guy was so nice the entire time. He was super thankful, and like he kept saying thank you so much for all your help, like over and over.
And then he told me I should sell bowling pins. I should crochet and sell bowling pins.
He did. He saw one of our plushies, like, you guys should make bowling pins. It's a unique item. You never see anyone doing it.
You never see them anywhere.
So that was, I think that was one of the first funny interactions we had this weekend.
It was one of the first people of the day.
Yeah, it was awesome.
I'm also going to say, like, this event,
I got there and it was like seeing family you haven't seen in a year. I walked the boardwalk and I got to say hello to all my friends who I've been on different spots on the boardwalk throughout the past year when I did the event last year. And some of my friends kept coming back to us throughout the day, and it's really like almost seeing family because it's so supportive. Everybody wants each other to succeed. We were all just remembering things that happened from last year. It was so nice and heartfelt to just see everybody. Like every time you have to walk all the way down the boardwalk to go to the bathroom. So every time you walk down, everybody checks on each other. Everybody's making sure everybody's okay. And then you have to walk to the other end of the boardwalk to get food. So we're constantly seeing each other throughout the day and everybody always checks on each other. It's so sweet.
Yeah. And on top of that, you're with these people for between 12 and 15 hours a day for multiple days in a row, multiple weekends out of the year.
Right. So this show happens a few times during the year. We're going to be back there. I'm going to be back for the 4th of July. You're not going to be with me.
Yeah.
And Labor Day at a minimum. There's probably a few others I'm going to pick up throughout the rest of the summer, but those are a minimum of days I'm going to be there, and those other people will most likely be there for those events too. And we're all just so happy to see each other. It's so genuine and so nice, and everybody just wants everybody to succeed. And it was so good to see everybody again.
Yeah. And like I said, you're spending so much time with these people every day that it really does become almost like a family of vendors.
Some of them I don't even know their names. I just know their business, and I know exactly who they are.
I only know like 3 of their names. Mm-hmm. I know what their business is. I know their temperament. I know what food they like.
Yep.
I know I know what cars they drive, and half of them I don't know their real names.
Like the board lady who kept coming back and like checking up on us, who I go and check on her and her husband. Love them. Love everything about them. Have no idea what her name is.
Nope.
And I went back when I was walking in the bathroom the first time. They saw me. We got giant hugs. Like, oh my gosh, how have you been? How's your family? How are you doing? Like, so sweet. Have no idea what their name is. Yeah. But I know exactly what their business is.
There were vendors that were next to us last year that as soon as we saw them, we knew exactly who they were.
And they were down at the other end.
And they were down at the other end this year. And we were like, oh, how are your kids? And they're like, oh, we brought 2 of them with us this time. And I was like, oh, which 2? And they're like, the older 2. And I was like, oh, okay, so your son is somewhere else. And they're like, yeah, he's with his
he was trouble last year, so we didn't bring him today.
Right.
It was
you really get to know these people, and the last thing that you learn is their names a lot of the times, because you learn what their business is and like what they need help with, if they need help with anything. You see each other packing and unpacking.
And like the lemonade people next to us this year, they had cookies and they had leftover cookies at the end of the day. They're like, you guys want a cookie? It's so sweet. It's just so nice. They needed help getting their back tent wall up to block them from the sun. I was helping them with their tent wall. It's just be nice to your vendors. Like, there's no reason not to, and you don't know when you're gonna need help. You really don't. And some of these people have helped in such a pinch. And again, at the end of this story, or at the end of this video, some of these people needed some help because some crazy shit happened at this show. Unfortunately, this is a great show and we love the show, and the coordinator's wonderful and she helped a lot with this too. Yep. But crazy shit sometimes just happens.
Yep. Sometimes it's just out of everyone's control.
And
all the vendors that were there, people pitched in to help. Like, it was great. Mm-hmm. So just like with seeing our favorite vendors and our vendor family, we also at this event see a lot of repeat customers, a lot of people that we haven't seen since last season. So we've got a couple stories with them. I
wonder if those 2 boys are going to be back this year.
Oh, I didn't see them, but that would be really cool.
Either. Sorry, I just remembered we had 2 boys who kept coming back and over and over and over again last year, and I didn't see them this year.
Yeah. But this
is what I mean. It's like, that's the stuff that you're like, oh, they came back every single weekend we were there last year and I didn't see them this year. I hope that it's just stuff like that.
Yeah. So we saw our favorite customer. She came back every single weekend that we were there last year. She came up to us and bought something every single weekend. She's super sweet.
Immediately she's like, I didn't know if you were going to remember me. I'm like, I could never forget you.
Yeah, no, we could never forget her.
I could never forget you. She's very distinct qualities and very distinct features. Like, she's like 4 foot flat. Like, but she's an adult.
Yeah. She's a tiny human being, but she is the sweetest person.
Sweetest.
She basically was one of the first customers that we ever did anything custom for.
Right, at the show, yeah.
she's super, super nice. We had this other lady come up to us and she's like, I don't know if you remember me from last year, but, and as soon as Sarah and I looked at her, Sarah instantly said what I was thinking. And she was like, Big turtle, cream decor. This woman last year bought a Big Mama turtle, and like the selling point for buying this turtle was that it matched the cream decor of her house.
I have to buy it. It matches my cream decor. I'm like,
it was so funny.
All right.
Like, we loved it. She bought a bunch of stuff from us last year.
She did.
And so we were just talking with her for a little while.
These two girls, and they brought their son this year. The son wasn't there last year. They just picked something out for him.
Yep.
The mom was like, I follow you on Instagram now. But the girls came back a few times last year. She's like, yeah, we have a whole collection.
Yep.
And they added to it this year. And the girls were like, oh my gosh, you're going to be back this year. We have to save our allowance money. Like, when are you going to be here? And it's just really sweet.
And then even just seeing people come up and be like, I remember you from last year. And they're like, yeah, we were here last year. We bought blah, blah, blah. And whether they bought something this year or not, it's just fun to see a lot of the same people again. And that's something that this event offers us, which is a lot of fun.
It's just such a good, well-rounded event. I love this show. It's good when you find good shows. It's an easy load in, load out. It's just a good day. The coordinator brings us bagels in the morning.
Yep. Super good event.
It's so good.
We love it.
It's such a good show. It's just, and even if the money isn't there, which I mean it is, but I'd still go. And it's a hike for us. It is not an easy drive. The drive at night is hard. It's a hike. And my dog sitter accidentally, like, it wasn't an accident. She canceled on us last minute because she was in the hospital. So I'm very grateful she was okay. But we had to come back every night to take care of Rue. And thankfully I had a friend who was able to come and stay during the day and help us out, and she ended up being able to just stay. But so we could have gotten a hotel, but we didn't get a hotel. So it was a whole big thing, but it's a hike for us. It's a good 2 hours away, but even if the money wasn't there, I'd still go. It's such a good, everything about the event is just great.
Yes. So one of our friends who is also a vendor at this event, she was in the spot right next to us this year. And it was so funny. On the second day of this event, all of a sudden, the tram car that runs along this boardwalk stops right in front of our tents. And there's like 5 or 6 cars in it. So it's next to a whole bunch of our tents. And someone that's in the tram car looks at her stuff, which is dog treats. And she's like, I want 5 of them. And so our friend hops up from her seat, grabs 5 of them. She goes over to the tram car. And as she's trying to give the person the stuff and they're trying to give her the money, the tram car starts moving. So she starts jogging along the tram car, giving the person their stuff, counting the money, getting them their change. She ran for probably like 50 to 100 feet before she finished the transaction and then went back to her tent. It was the funniest thing. And as soon as she got back, I turned to her and I was like, that was awesome. I was dying. That was awesome.
I mean, and it's so fun. Like the tram car, like there was this one boy who bought a penguin from me, and he carried that thing with him. He had to have been 8, 9.
Something like that.
Carried that penguin with him. He passed us like 4 or 5 times, going back and forth along the boardwalk the entire weekend. On the tram car, off the tram car, walking, not walking.
Yeah, he bought it from us on the first day.
On the first day. He was one of our first customers,
We saw him carrying it both days.
Both days. And every time he'd pass, he'd wait with the penguin in his hands. He was so happy. It
was super sweet.
And that's not the first time people would hop on the tram car with some of my things and then wave after they bought it. And like, it's so genuine. It's so nice. The people are so, I love this show. I love this show. So this event, they never shut down the boardwalk. They do say there's overnight security and they do have security cameras, but there's always people walking up and down on the boardwalk. So you never know what's going to get stolen, what they could take, what things could happen. And so you put up your tent walls. Some people leave some stuff. This time I left my tables, my grid wall,
and the tent.
But again, you're leaving your stuff open to the public. And so you never know what can happen. It's not like a park where police are shutting down the park. It's not where the streets shut down and people aren't going to be going there. There are plenty of events where I'll leave stuff overnight. And this is not one of those shows. We take almost everything. And after this, we are definitely going to be taking everything and we will just leave the tent. we got there on the, and also this is not the first time at this show that things have happened overnight.
Right. So we got there on Sunday, and we heard that there were some issues overnight.
I walk down to go see my friend, and she's visibly upset. I'm like, oh my God, is everything okay? 2 of her tables overnight had been stolen.
And I'm not talking small tables. Like, these are collapsible 6-foot-long tables. She had a cinder block sitting on top of them to help weigh down the tent and to keep the tables from moving if there was any wind. Like, someone moved the cinder block, took the walls off her tent.
The cinder block was suspended from the ceiling, like suspended from the middle of the tent on a bungee cord. It took some work to do this. I don't know if they had tent walls.
She puts okay, it's not actual walls. She puts like this lace stuff up.
So they had to do work to get to
right. And they stole 2 of her 6-foot tables. So she usually sits in the middle of her tent and then has 4 6-foot tables creating a square around her, and they stole 2 of her tables. So all of a sudden she didn't have half the things that she normally uses in order to set up her whole setup.
So and then thankfully one of the directors, the coordinators, they had tables there. So they gave her a table to use. They were able to set up. Things happen, but it still sucks.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Most of the big events that I do, I don't leave anything that's not replaceable. Right. For that reason. Like my spinners, I can't replace those. I still haven't found an Amazon link or anywhere really that I can go and replace those. I've only gotten them on Facebook Marketplace by luck. Yep. If I could find them and give you guys a link, I would, but I have not found them, and I have searched because I want more of them and I can't get them.
Right. And we also have like hardware that's missing or broken on some of them, and we're like going to the hardware store and trying to figure out how to make hose clamps and stuff work for them. Like, we would much rather, if we had a manufacturer for them, buy stuff from them. Like, these are great spinners, but literally I've only ever found them on Facebook Marketplace when businesses are going out of business or closing for whatever reason or redoing their interior.
And I've asked those people, where did you get them from? And they either don't remember, can't tell me, or whatever.
On top of the stolen tables, as we were starting to set up, I also heard from someone from the other end of the boardwalk, one of the other vendors coming down, saying that someone's tent down that way had gotten smashed up. And we're like, what do you mean smashed up? And they had like dropped their tent down, and it almost looked like someone like jumped up and landed on the tent on the corner. Like it was from a person. This was not like the wind broke it or something like that. Like someone purposely broke this portion of that person's tent. Yep. The worst part about the tables being stolen and the tent being broken is that the woman whose tables were stolen this year, last year, someone broke her tent. So this is 2 years in a row that someone has either stolen or purposely damaged some of her stuff. Yep. And it just really sucks. Yeah.
But we were all rallying around her. Anybody who had any extra stuff, like I was even trying to see if I could break down one table and give it to her, and then the coordinator was able to give her a table. So we were all trying to figure out how we could make it work and how to help her. And someone else was like, I have extra tables. So everybody was trying to help and figure out how to do it. I mean, this is one of the events where someone's tent leg snapped last year. Yeah. The wind gets crazy at this event too. Yeah. So things happen, and sometimes you can't always plan for them. But this is definitely an event where we will be taking all of our stuff overnight.
So thank you very much for watching our video. If you like us, please give us a thumbs up and comment. Tell us what you think the worst thing to have been stolen could have been. Let us know what you would like to see. And if you are not, please subscribe to our channel. I would like more Treatos.
You can send them to Mommy's P.O. box.
Yes, my mom has a P.O. box. If you'd like to send me a Treato, I very much like chimkin, blueberries, and peanut butter.
Thank you, everyone.
Good job. Good girl.
That was such a good outro, Mama.
Good girl. Good girl. Yes, you're so good.
Hey, Sarah. You got a nice butt.
A pair of jeans, a shirt or two. We didn't pack as if we weren't going back. It doesn't matter if it's true. I've got a feeling love will give us what we lack.